Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Natalie Shepard.
I'm Jessa Breisbeck. We appreciate you being there on this Thursday evening. And after 8 days of testimony and video presentations that were at times difficult to watch, the jury has now started to deliberate the case against Maxwell Anderson.
Anderson is charged with killing and dismembering Sade Robinson last year. And this afternoon, the testimony phase of the trial ended, and both the prosecution and the defense made their closing arguments to the jury.
Yeah, Adam Reif has been covering this trial from the beginning, and he is live once again outside the courthouse with what happened today and what happens next. Adam?
Well, after 59 people testified throughout this trial over the course of 7 days, the outcome now rests with 12 jurors who started deliberating about 20 minutes ago. This afternoon, the state called its last witness, then rested its case. Shortly after, the defense rested without calling any witnesses, and Maxwell Anderson did not testify in his defense, as is his right. After that, it was time for closing arguments, and the state went first. Assistant District Attorney Ian Vance Curzan delivered the closing argument for the state, a 30-minute video presentation that recapped all the evidence presented. An interactive map walked the jury through the case from start to finish, tying together all the pieces they've heard over the past week plus. From the first time Sade Robinson met Maxwell Anderson 3 days before she disappeared, to their dates at the bars the night she did, to their return to his home, the car's trip throughout the night, the burning car, then Anderson's trip back home on the bus. There were many tears in the gallery on the side reserved for Sade's family. And Vance Curzan asked the jury to use common sense and search for the truth.
And there's no question about the person responsible for doing it. The killer is him. He's the last person to be with her, the last one texting her, the last one whose residence she was at, the last one who had her car, the last one who had her phone, the last one who was with her. The one who burned her car. He did everything he could to try to get away with it. He tried to cover up. He tried to fool the police. He's trying to fool all of you, but he doesn't get to do that.
Defense attorney Anthony Cotton then delivered the defense's closing argument. As has been their strategy throughout on cross-examination of all the witnesses, they focused on reasonable doubt. Cotton said they did not dispute most of the facts in this case, that Sade was murdered, that her body was dismembered, but they do dispute that Maxwell Anderson was involved. He said Anderson's behavior before and after the disappearance do not look like that of a killer. They went to public places. He did not hide after Sade disappeared. He said that Anderson was simply at the wrong place at the wrong time. He specifically said the jury cannot convict him merely because they think he might have done it or because they think he could have done it. And he reminded the jury that Anderson is not required to prove his innocence.
And you have to listen to us on our end, bore you, unfortunately, at times by going through all of the DNA evidence. But for crying out loud, this was the most swabbed home I've ever seen in my life. Swabbed everything. Everything. Ask for the report. None of Sade's blood is anywhere in that home. I turn Max over to you. It's your decision. You have to look at each count carefully, and I'm convinced you'll conclude that the state hasn't met its burden of proof on each count.
There was brief applause in the audience after each of the closing argument for the state. They get to rebut after Anthony Cotton went, and there was brief applause after that one as well. I noticed that Maxwell Anderson turned around to wave to his family. It's the only time I've seen him acknowledge them. This was after everything had finished. Anthony Cotton was walking through the gallery with Anderson's family, and he turned and said Max over the wall as he was being handcuffed to be let out of the courtroom. He said, Max, your parents are leaving, and Anderson gave a wave. It was the first acknowledgement that I have seen. Just a moment ago, the jury was dismissed for the day. They are heading home, and they will return tomorrow at 8:30 for deliberations, and we will be here. Natalie Jessup, back to you in the studio.
Adam Reif live downtown for us. Adam, thank you very much. And once again tonight, attorney Justin Padway will join us on the news at 9 and 10, as he has throughout the trial, to share his continuing legal expertise as we hear more in the courtroom. And we continue our coverage tomorrow as the jury begins its deliberations. We will bring you the verdict on air with a live stream on our social pages and also on CBS58.com, our website also, where you can find all of our coverage of Sade Robinson's disappearance and murder.